So, welcome, gorgeous souls, to another juicy episode of Live Your Best Laugh. I have with me today a wonderful guest, the gorgeous Kayleigh Provins, who we needed to get on this and stop chatting and start the pod, didn't we?
Yeah.
We're having a lot of fun. Kayleigh is a mindset and self-leadership coach. I love that. I'm all about self-leadership. And she helps founders reconnect with their authentic selves, realign with their true desires, and reclaim the confidence to create lives of joy, yay, purpose, yay, and holistic wealth. Yay! Love, love, love that. It's so gorgeous to have you here, my lovely. Would you like to share a little bit about yourself and say hello to all our gorgeous listeners?
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Any kind of chat that involves talking about joy and authenticity and business, and I'm there for it. I'm always there for it. So as Kat said, I am a mindset and self-leadership coach, and I work mostly with women, helping them to kind of reconnect with why they started their businesses in the first place. So helping them to refine the joy, refine the reasons why they jumped into their business in the first place, to reconnect to all of the whys outside of the traditional business goals, outside of, the number of clients or the how much money or, the size they want to grow their business to, and helping them reconnect back into that self, the self reason why. And that's why I talk about self leadership and showing up in the most authentic way for you and having fun, remembering to have fun along the way, because that's what it's about. And holistic wealth for me is really means that money is only a part of it. That's what it
Mm,
means. To me, holistic
mm,
wealth is a feeling. It's something that you are, it's not something that you have. And so that's what I help women to reconnect with when inevitably they get to a point in their business where they lose that inside all of the targets and goals and aims and all of that boring stuff
mm.
that is also important, but not as
But
important
yeah,
as
but it's
self.
not as much fun, not as sexy, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I feel that kind of really aligns with life richness. When I think about
Mm.
life richness, like you say, like money is a part of our holistic wealth, but it's a piece, isn't it? And if
Yeah.
we're seeking that and making that the whole piece, which I think it's quite easy to do when you
So
are
easy.
a business owner, right? And you're
Hmm.
not receiving
Hmm.
like something consistent as a continuum from, say, an employer kind of mentality. You can be chasing the money energy, and then in so doing, it's like you're not thinking about, like, what is true wealth,
Hmm.
like what is true wealth. When I think about wealth, money comes into it, but there's so many other pieces in the pie, and
Absolutely.
that's life richness, right?
Hmm. Absolutely, 100%. And I think, what you said about how it's just a part, but it is a part, money is a part that we can become fixated on because let's face it, the initial goals when you start a business, when you launch a business are replacing your current income so that you can leave the job or you can go to part-time or so then the next goal is probably a certain amount per month so that then you're comfortable. Okay, this now I'm making this consistently. Now I feel like I can really jump all in my business.
Mm,
And then you're bombarded with well, are you really a successful solopreneur unless you're making 10K months,
yeah.
5 figure months, 6 figure, and then you're bombarded with all of this idea that success is about how much money you're making.
Mm.
And yet, in the pursuit of that, the first thing that you lose usually is joy because you forget to be in the journey. You forget all of the reasons why you do what you do and everything else you get from it because it becomes solely about the success metrics that the business world would have you believe are the important ones.
Yeah, totally. This comes up so much when I talk to people for this podcast. It's that whole thing of like enjoying where you are.
Hmm.
And I think as business owners, and even without a business, people, they can be seeking the goal,
Yep.
and the goal is often driven by money, or
Hmm.
driven by like, so rest. So people that, like, they live for their holidays, for
Yep.
example, so they, like, they don't feel in the moment, right?
Hmm.
Like, if like, to take money to the side of it and just think about, like we said with holidays,
Yep.
if you are living for your couple of weeks, like in Europe, wherever you're going on your holiday, then you're seeking, you're you're waiting.
Yeah.
You're not choosing to
Hmm.
live in that moment. It's like, oh, when I go on holiday, I'll be really, really happy.
Mm.
Well, I was talking to
Or at
somebody
the
else.
weekend, I'll
Yes,
let my
yeah,
hair
yeah,
down.
again,
Like,
yeah, and actually I saw a lot of that kind of mentality in teaching when I was a teacher, that whole
hmm.
kind of oh my God, I just got to get to the end of term. It's like, well, okay, but then there's a presumption that you will get to the end of term, and I say that not with any element of gloom, just more in that kind of like, just like really,
Yeah.
really take the moment, really take the gift that is here, right now, because like, you might not be at the end
Hmm.
of term, like, if we're waiting, and I've seen so many times, like, teacher friends, they get to that end of term and they're absolutely fucking on their knees,
Yeah.
you
And then
know
you're not in a space energetically, physically, mentally to enjoy yourself
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
you've pushed and pushed and pushed yourself to the point of when I get there, then I can relax. And then you get there and your body shuts down
yeah,
and you find yourself bedridden, or you find yourself with all these ailments and things. And you're manifesting through the way that you're going through your day-to-day life an inability to be slow, be
yeah,
calm, like enjoy the moment. And one of the starting points that I start with nearly all of my clients is gratitude and the idea of having enough, like enoughness
yeah,
where
yeah,
you are. Because if you don't have that where you are now, if you're not able to live in that gratitude, in that joy, in that enoughness, nothing that you achieve is ever going to be good enough. It's
well,
like
yeah,
the
because you just
next,
stretch it, won't you?
you just, yeah, you get to
Yeah,
the, and this is what you see happening so often. And also because, let's face it, it is a societal narrative, right?
mm,
It's you achieve this, and then, okay, now the next thing, the next promotion, that, even as simple as you finish school, you go to college, you go to uni, you get a partner, you get married, you get engaged, you get married, you have a kid, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the
yeah,
narrative out there is that once you achieve something, it's on to the next, it's on to the
yeah,
next, it's on to the next. And that leads to a really unfortunate inability to live in the moment, to be joyful in the moment, to have enough in the moment, to be grateful in the moment. And that is what ultimately will lead you to having holistic wealth, life richness, whatever you
yeah.
want to call it. It's not the ticking off of these things on the list that you think you need in order to be successful or be happy.
Yeah, and like, it's interesting what you say about starting with gratitude, because that really resonates with me. Gratitude and joy, like,
Hmm.
they have this
Best
synergy.
friends.
They
Yeah.
are besties, right? They love each other.
Yeah.
And what I find really interesting is gratitude can feel really challenging for
Hmm.
people. And again, it's that whole thing of like, well, is it enough gratitude? Like, it has to be like a big piece. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, no. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
it's so interesting because I've worked with gratitude a lot with clients, as I imagine you have.
Hmm.
And like, it is a really simple practice but it's really powerful. And I
Hmm.
guess the powerful things can feel like, oh my gosh, like it's like I've got to get it right, and it's got to be, the right kind and enough, and
Yeah.
and it's like, honestly, it's whatever it is.
Yeah, it's this,
Yeah.
I say the same thing about celebration. One
Yes.
of the things that is missing from so many people's lives is the ability to celebrate,
Yeah.
because we have this idea that we can only celebrate when it's something big.
Yes.
And I'm like constantly encouraging people, my clients, but also people that I just meet in the street and my friends and
Yeah.
my family, like, how about just celebrating the tiniest step you took today?
Yeah.
Like you've been in bed with a bad back for a week and you got up today.
Yes.
Like why are we not celebrating that? And then it's
Yeah.
like, oh well, because it still hurts.
Yeah.
And it,
It's
you
it's
know,
it's looking it's not look it's looking with the wrong lens, right? Isn't it?
absolutely.
Like, and I love that you love celebration. And of course you do. Of course you do. Like, it so aligns with your work. But I am a massive fan of self-celebration
Ah,
for exactly those reasons. Because like we could, like, if life has been hard and getting out of bed has been a challenge,
mm-hmm.
celebrate getting out of bed.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, like, back, celebrate this. And I think we have been so kind of conditioned into, like, let's celebrate the wedding or the big
Mm-hmm.
birthday, or, and it's like,
Yeah. The
oh,
graduation, the grades,
yeah, the
yeah.
things. And this is why we have this relationship with gratitude and joy and enoughness. It's because we feel in our heads that it has to be like,
Mm-hmm.
boom, this big,
Yeah.
big thing here. And that's why things like that can feel like a destination.
Uh-huh.
It's like, oh, and,
Absolutely.
and that, oh, when I da 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 fill in the space,
Then I'll
then
feel
da da da
da da
da.
da. Yeah.
And it's bullshit. We all know that's
Absolutely.
bullshit, and this is where, if we have a gratitude practice and we really, like just decide that we can be grateful for the simplest of things, and we
Mm-hmm.
celebrate the tiniest of things, like, actually it's a seismic shift from a small piece, right?
Absolutely. Like 100%. And it's the power of it is just so undeniable. And yet it's also something that has, as you say, this narrative attached to it that there's a right way to do it and a wrong way
Yeah.
to do it, and it has to be perfect. And it's just not like my gratitude and what I'm grateful for is going to be totally different to your gratitude and what you're grateful for. And some people might be truly, truly grateful for their warm cup of coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Great. Like, be grateful for that. Celebrate that. That might not resonate with the next person.
Yeah.
You might be grateful for your morning run, and somebody else might be thinking, ugh. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just because the people that you're watching and just because people who you idolize are showing their lives and what they're grateful for doesn't mean that that's what you should aspire to have. And I find often with gratitude that there's a narrative there that people get lost in as well, that one of the biggest shifts that I see a lot in my world is when people start to actually intentionally practice gratitude for what they are genuinely grateful for,
Mm,
celebrating what for them genuinely means something to them. They suddenly realize that the idea of success they had in their mind and that they built up isn't actually their version of success.
mm,
And that is like, that shift is huge because
yeah.
you realize then, oh, I've been like on this treadmill going and going and going, trying to achieve this version of success that actually now I've gone back inwards and re-asked myself, well, what am I grateful for? What brings me joy? What am I happy to celebrate? What is enoughness to me? You suddenly realize that there's a huge disconnect from what actually is enoughness and what you've been working towards. And it's not
Yeah.
actually your version of success. It's probably a painted, perfect picture of
Yeah.
success.
There's I've not read the book, but I've listened to the podcast, and I'm like in my brain going, what's her name? What's her name? I'm pretty sure she's called Bonnie. I think she's called Bonnie. It's with Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, and it's
Okay.
called The Five Regrets of the Dying.
Hmm.
And it's like I said, I haven't read the book. I really want to read the book. But the podcast, they talked a lot around that, and I think from memory she was a palliative care nurse, so
Hmm.
obviously she saw a lot,
You
right?
saw it, yeah.
And the things that people shared, it was absolutely not to do with money and the position they got to in there,
Hmm.
whatever. It was all about time and relationships and experiences,
Yeah.
and like laughter and
Hmm.
connection. And oh, it's all giving me little goosies. But
Yeah. So
so
true.
so like you say, that that shift is huge because like when people are sharing, like when they're at that end of life space and they're saying these are the things that have brought my life richness, brought me
Hmm.
all the wealth I wanted to. If you can realize that, like at whatever stage, but if you can realize that and then make the changes that help you see the world and your life in
Yeah.
that lens, like when you do that kind of look back, like you will have a smile on your face, won't you?
Yeah.
And that,
Absolutely.
like, that's a real driver for me, my 80, 100-year old, whatever she chooses to be self. My intent when I see her is she's really freaking smiling
Hmm.
because of the life richness she experienced. It's not like there's never a piece that looks at like, figures in a
No.
bank balance, or do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
No,
Like,
no, no, you know, 80-year-old or 100-year-old, as you say, is looking back thinking, oh, I wish I'd made more money.
yeah, yeah,
It's just like it's just not it's not what people are thinking about at that time of their life.
yeah,
It's I wish I'd spent more time with this person, or I wish I'd worked a little bit harder on that relationship, or and it I wish I'd taken more time to enjoy all of the moments
yeah.
rather than
Well,
rushing through
because the
to
little,
the next thing and the next thing.
yeah, and the little things are actually the big things. And I
Hmm.
think we can undervalue
Oh,
the
yeah.
worth of the little things,
Hmm.
from a beautiful conversation with
Yeah.
someone, to like a walk in the woods, or
Hmm.
like whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? Because like they are the pieces that actually make life feel gorgeous,
Yeah.
and it's that same analogy of like, oh, like the 2 week holiday will bring the joy, or the promotion will be it's like, no, like the little pieces, the little things are the life givers, you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
yeah.
And knowing that you have every right, and it is your birthright to be happy,
Mm,
to not have to work a job that you don't like, to not have to be in a situation that you don't want to be in. And it is about like really looking at your life as a whole holistically and asking yourself, am I just bypassing all those moments of joy
mm,
that just
yeah.
become like the mundane parts of your day? You've got to get up and walk the dog. But are you looking around you while you're doing that? Are you,
Mm,
just the other day, I have a dog myself, and there's a forest path up near us here. And I found myself doing the same thing. I was like, oh, like, come on, like thinking, okay, how long is it going to take me to walk up this path? And I just stopped because I felt myself in that moment
mm,
rushing and losing the connection to the moment and the gratitude for the moment. When I stopped and I looked around, there was this shard of sunlight that just came through the trees and landed on the most ginormous mushroom I've ever seen in my life. It was like the stalk was like this, and the mushroom head was bigger than my head. And
right.
it was this just soul mushroom just standing there in the middle of the forest. And I just stopped and I looked at it and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And had I not realized that I was rushing through that moment because in my mind it was a waste of time to be walking the dog, which is ridiculous, I would have missed that.
Yeah.
I would
This
have
is the
missed
thing.
that moment and I would have missed that opportunity to put a massive smile on my face.
Yeah, yeah, totally. This is the thing, isn't it? Like, if we carry on in that kind of energy, we miss a
You
ton of
miss
stuff,
everything.
you know. And I think, you know, this is us just being humans, right? So you say, "Oh, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous," and but we're humans living like our messy, whatever lives, and
I
it's
say that all
like,
the time. Like
it's so
being
normal, isn't
human
it?
is messy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
what I think, because what we can be is we can be a bit unkind to ourselves around
Oh,
this, like,
yeah.
oh, why have I been like that again? It's like, honestly, like, I
Mm-hmm.
just think observation is everything, but
Yeah.
observe with love, observe with kindness, like,
And yeah, you're so right. You're so right. And celebrate and congratulate yourself that you
yeah,
noticed
yeah, yeah,
and that you did stop and you did take a breath
yeah.
because those moments and when you do get, caught up, we were talking before about my inability to stay calm in a car. And it's so easy to get caught up in those moments because we're human and that's how we function. That's how our brains work. That's how our, psychology and our physiology work. We
Yeah,
we remember something, we feel something, our mind goes, "Oh, I know this, we're feeling this because of this," and then comes in, the you know better than this, you should know better. That doesn't change.
yeah,
And I feel like people who are on this personal development journey, whether it's through entrepreneurship or they're just on a journey of personal development themselves, I feel like it's so easy to buy into the fact that at some point all that will go away.
yeah.
And it's like,
It doesn't.
no, it doesn't
No.
because we're human.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, thank you for the reminder and because it is so easy to find yourself saying those things. As you said, I was just saying, it's ridiculous. Rushing through and saying these things to myself. And you can be so mean to yourself and be like, I should know better than this. Like, come on. What, like,
yeah. But
stop,
it's
slow
okay.
down.
Yeah, it
But it
just,
is okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I, like, personally, I feel that this stuff, like, just, of course, it comes back, we don't suddenly unhumanize ourselves, right?
No.
However, my experience and then my belief, because I've also kind of seen it in
Mm-hmm.
others, is you get more comfortable with when the things flag,
Absolutely.
and so, feel more comfortable kind of owning, like, the
Mm-hmm.
messy parts. I've noticed more and more I will blather away at my husband going, oh, I'm feeling really dysregulated at the moment, and and I would never previously have had that conversation. I would have probably
Mm-hmm.
just been moody
So true.
or withdrawn or a bit snappy, or
Mm-hmm.
whereas I just kind of go, oh, I'm really fucking annoying myself and I'm really
Yeah.
dysregulated, and oh, I don't know, I'm just feeling a bit like, "Ugh,"
Mm-hmm.
and so
Finding
I
what
think,
works for you to bring you
yeah,
back
yeah,
into yourself.
yeah. So I think the like you say, it doesn't go away, but I think the ownership round of it
Mm-hmm.
around it feels more comfortable,
100%.
and so in so doing, I also feel that you move through it quicker,
I was just going
because
to say that.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And I have said this so many times and I will continue to say it. The difference between somebody who is struggling and somebody who feels like they're being successful, that feels in control, that feels like they're leading their own lives, isn't the amount of knowledge they have, isn't how much work they've done. It is absolutely their ability to notice, acknowledge,
yeah,
accept, and move through.
yeah,
And the only difference is that people who feel successful in themselves and are happy have mastered or are in the process of mastering their ability to move through those things. And that's self-leadership. Like when I talk about self-leadership, it's not from a place of, power posing and I'm in
yeah,
charge and keep going and never stop. It's from a place of accepting all parts of you
Yes.
and being able to notice when it's not your true self in the driver's seat and being able
Yeah.
to have a little giggle. And I say to
Yeah.
so many people, I have, again, the conversation that we were just having about different parts of us and naming them,
Yeah.
and I get my clients to name their parts so that they become more comfortable when they show up and they can say, hey, Maureen, I don't need you here today. I'm in charge, thank you. And
Maureen, go and have a cuppa.
yeah, learning to listen to those parts. And I always use the analogy of a bus, like who's driving? Who's driving this
Mm,
decision? Who's driving the behavior that I'm experiencing right now? Is it your true self, or has one of your parts come in to try to protect you from something, to take the lead because it feels like you can't? And
yeah.
when you get really good at noticing that, that's magic because you're in control then. You're like, hey, not today, thanks. And
Yeah.
you can have a humorous, happy, joyful conversation with that part. And you can hear them and you can say, I understand why you think you might need to protect me, but it's okay. Like, I've
Yeah.
got this. Get in the back of the bus. I
Yes.
don't need you up here. Like,
Yeah.
I'm driving, I'm going forward. That's self-leadership.
Oh, I love it because one of the things I wanted to talk to you about because I self-leadership is actually the first part of my group program, the big shift. It's radical self-leadership. So
Hmm.
with you being a leadership coach, I was like, oh, self-leadership really aligns and it
Hmm.
really excites me because I think it's like just a brilliant thing for us to decide that we want to get more comfortable with it, more
Hmm.
familiar with what self leadership looks like. And for me, what I found with self leadership, it's that real sense of belongingness,
Yeah,
like that real
absolutely.
coming back, coming back to self trust and coming back to self belonging. And like, because, a lot of us are striving, say, for self belief. And I think that real richness of self belief, which is when we come into self leadership, it's that self belonging. So, yeah, like what is it about self leadership that like really excites you? Because it excites, like I could really geek off about it and just, do you know what I mean? But I think
Yeah,
it's so powerful, particularly for us as women.
absolutely. And it is and has taken up a much bigger part in my coaching and what I do. Self-leadership is at the center of what I do
Right,
now. Because without it, and as you were saying there, for me, self-leadership is self-trust, self-belief, and self-love.
right, yeah,
When you have all of those things, nothing anybody else thinks, says, does truly makes a difference.
yeah,
You might have wobbles because you're human and you're
yeah,
messy,
yeah.
but self-leadership is the ability to stand strong in who you are.
Mm,
Like flaws and all the
yeah,
parts that lose it and shout at your husband or your kids, the parts that break down and cry uncontrollably, the parts that beat themselves up, the parts that sit on the shoulder and say, you should know better than this. Why are you doing this? What self-leadership is the ability to own all of that, like
yeah,
radically. No
yeah.
excuses, no justifications, no guilt. This is me. This is who I am. And this is the place that I choose to lead from. This is the decision that I choose to make. Even if down the line you look back and you think that was the wrong decision.
Yeah, yeah.
Like owning it that I made that decision. And at the time, I made that with all of the tools that I had available.
Mm,
Self-leadership is a lot of forgiveness as
yeah,
well. It's a lot of looking back and being like realizing that the things that have happened in the past and the way that you were or the choices that you made with everything that you had available to you at that time.
mm,
And that this version of you is far different from that version of you, and that's okay. And the future version of you is going to be far different from this version of you, and that's okay.
yeah,
That to me is the ultimate in self leadership.
yeah. And love is such a cementer in all of
Yeah.
that, isn't it? You know, if we can love ourselves
Mm-hmm.
deeply, then we'll also forgive ourselves deeply
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
it is not about being perfect. It is
No.
not about getting it right because actually trying to live a life like that is really, really challenging, you know,
It's exhausting.
and it's just not realistic,
No,
right?
it's
So
not. Yeah.
like having self-love, I always say self-love is our absolute foundational piece, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and if we're trying to do other things like, you know, self-belief and finding a joy, like they're key parts of like what I teach. Self-love is the bit that needs the attention first
Yeah.
because the other pieces will feel far more challenging
Mm-hmm.
if we can't look at ourselves with love,
Yeah.
then that's the piece that really
Mm-hmm.
needs, like, all the love and attention, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It reminds me of something that I don't know if parents still say it, but my parents used to say it is,
Yeah.
um, I don't like you right now, but I love
Right.
you, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Like if I had done something, the first thing they would say to me is, I really love you, but I don't like the decision that you just made, or I
Right.
don't like how you just behaved, or I don't like, and that is true love. That is self-love. To
Mm.
me, self-love isn't about like standing strong on, well, I did that and it's done and I've done it anyway. It's also about, I didn't really like the way I just behaved.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you can still love yourself and not like something that
Yeah.
you've done and not like a decision you made and not like the fact that you lost it in a moment where you didn't have the tools to regulate yourself, but you have to always love yourself.
Yeah, and like, within all of that is kindness and compassion, isn't it?
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
so key
Hmm.
for us actually seeing ourselves for who we are
Mm.
and not beating ourselves with a stick of like, "Oh, you know, there you go
Yeah.
again," and, you know, like, "Oh, like, that's evidence that I can't I just get it
Hmm.
wrong every time," and you know, all those
Yeah.
sneaky little narratives that can, like, dance around here and then, like, they can be really disabling, can't they?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. And that's why, as you said, self-belief, self-trust, without that love for yourself, without that self-love, you know, building self-belief is almost like a surface level thing. It's like
yeah,
you can tell yourself until you're blue in the face that you believe in yourself, that you believe you can, but if that's not backed by a true love of yourself, it's always going to be on shaky ground.
totally, totally. That's why it's the foundation, and
Mm,
it's that thing, if you haven't got your foundations right, then
yeah.
everything will just wobble and
Hmm.
collapse. Like my thing I love to share with clients is for what I would love them to get to is to be able to stand on a chair in the middle of a crowded room and say, "I fucking love myself," and not wanna throw up, you know?
Yeah.
And I can really see how that can be super, super stretchy. But when we can get to that point, you know, then actually, God, we can be so, so much more trusting of ourselves, so much
Hmm.
kinder to ourselves, so much more allowing like who we
Hmm.
are instead of like who we think we should be or like the
Yeah.
behaviors, the characteristics that fit in and like
Hmm.
make us not too much or you know
Yeah.
like all
Absolutely.
those things that we've tried to do. And I know that's like not a gentle approach, like in a crowded room, but the analogy is still the same. Just that like that thing of like, oh my God, I bloody love who I am. Like
Yeah.
I can
But for
say
most
that.
people, even just thinking about standing up in front of a room full of people and saying that is gonna
Yeah,
make
yeah,
them
yeah.
feel physically like nauseous.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They're gonna
yeah.
be like, no, I can't say that.
Yeah,
And that instant feeling of, like, if you're listening to this and your instant feeling is, I can't say that I love myself, then there's a problem.
yeah. That there's and I, you know, and I always say I love I came up with it when I was doing I think it was when I was doing London this year, but I think I might have talked about it before. But when I ran London Marathon this year.
Hmm.
I bumped into my husband because he was running it too at mile 23, and he was like finding it really tough. And we walked the last 3 miles, which in a marathon is really hard to walk the last bit. But he like had chronic back pain, so actually running really wasn't available. And it
Yeah.
was really interesting because we both had the same experience pretty much, give or take. And he was like, I'm never running another marathon again. I was like, oh, when's the next one? Right. And the same experience, it was like information
Yeah.
versus confirmation, right? And this is the thing, like if you listen to anything that we're saying and you go, oh, I see myself, what I really encourage is look for information, not confirmation. Don't like,
Yeah.
like we can all have experiences that feel challenging, and then we can
Yeah.
go, oh, okay, here's all the reasons why I should never do that thing again.
Hmm.
And so I'm going to stay here. And our lived experience, both of us, I was like, oh, so like it was a really hot day, so I need to think more about my nutrition next time. Or, like my legs started to hurt and it took longer, so I didn't have enough fuel in my body. So I was like, information, information, information. My husband was
Information.
like, confirmation, confirmation. And of
So
course,
true.
I coached him, and we're both running Brighton Marathon next year because
Hmm.
he's changed how he felt around it. But I think
Yeah.
anything that we're sharing, it's easy for us as humans, again, because we can get caught up in not being kind to ourselves. Is to go, oh, yeah, God, yeah, I knew I didn't love myself enough, and oh, that's confirmation why. Da, 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 da. It's like use like find the pieces that are like jumping around to you. Often they're a bit stretchy, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they're impossible, because we can gently go
Yeah.
through like this, the making it feel less stretchy, right? But it's
Absolutely.
like if we're like prepared to go there and we look at the information that can give us, then you're opening like so much more possibility for yourself, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the key things that I always say is, especially when we're in the information phase of learning, why we feel stuck and why we maybe keep repeating the same patterns and why we're not feeling like our life is full of joy, is absolutely no judgment. Like
Mm,
you have to leave judgment, like not just at the side, like in another universe. It has to
yeah.
it has to be as far away from you as possible, because otherwise that's exactly what happens. That information turns into confirmation that you shouldn't be doing it or that you
Yeah.
can't do it when we bring that judgment in. Whereas you take that judgment off the table, exactly what happens with the marathon with you is you start thinking, oh, okay, so next time I'll do this, I'll have more water, or I'll pace myself better, or I'll. And whereas if you bring judgment in and you start saying to yourself, oh, I should have had more water, I should have done this, I shouldn't have stopped there, or I shouldn't have done that, very quickly the energy is going into the
Yeah.
negative space instead of the possibility and the opportunity of what could be next time. And that, I think, from a place of being in the celebration, being in the enoughness, being in the gratitude of the moment, when people talk about manifesting, when people talk about bringing into their life what it is they want to experience, that's where it starts. It comes from there, because
Yeah.
where your energy is focused and what you're experiencing is what you're attracting more of.
Mm,
And so it really is that simple about, you know, the tiny moments in your day, the tiny pockets of joy, of gratitude, of enoughness trains you to see more of it.
yeah.
And the more of it you see, the higher vibration that you're in, the easier it is for you to see all of those things around you. Kind of like we were talking about, when you're in a rush and you miss, when you're rushing through life to tick the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, you're missing everything around you. Doesn't mean it's not there,
Yeah. Yeah.
but all of
And
those opportunities and possibilities to have joy, to have gratitude, to have it, they're there. You're just missing them.
yeah. It's like, what do we want to feed in here into this
Mm,
headspace, right? And we can feed a ton of stuff that's going to be less
yeah.
than helpful, or we can feed the stuff that is going to help us. look at things differently,
Yeah.
you know?
Hmm.
Like and I think we can feel, like so caught up in stuff that we feel we don't have a choice, but we can choose how we can flip our language. We can
Absolutely.
flip how we want things to feel um, by, yeah, by looking at the words that we're using
Hmm.
because like
100%.
they're powerful, right? And you can say like things can fall out without even noticing, but I think the noticing is the piece, isn't it? And then going, okay, so I
The
can
noticing, yeah.
like, how's that going to be more helpful?
Hmm.
What's going to be a more helpful belief for me right now?
Yeah.
Like welcoming in more of that stuff, or
Yeah.
welcome in more of what I
Yeah.
really want over here.
Hmm.
You know?
And I love the way you just worded that, like what's going to be or what could be more helpful. I think a lot of people can feel quite stuck in finding gratitude and finding joy or finding a new belief and feeling that it can be toxic. It can
Mm,
be like if I just say to myself enough that, I believe in myself that the outcome's going to be different.
mm,
Whereas what you said, like the your words are so powerful that changing the way that you speak to yourself about something that seems far away. Like if you're not in a place right now where you really feel like you can embody and truly be in self-love, instead of standing in front of the mirror and saying, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself until you feel like it works, how
mm,
about asking yourself, what would it feel like if I truly embodied self-love? Like,
mm,
I wonder what would happen if I did this. Start using language like that. What
mm.
other belief could be more beneficial to me rather than, I think, this very old-fashioned idea of affirmations and like forcing a new belief into your brain by just staring at yourself and saying it over and over again.
Yeah,
It's not the
yeah,
kind way to do it to yourself. It can be slower. It doesn't have to be this like juxtaposition of this is where I am, and so I'm going to immediately start believing and acting on the opposite because it's not coming from a place of possibility and capability for you probably at that point. And so that
yeah, and
those
yeah.
the way that you speak to yourself through that transition is also so important.
Yeah, and I think allowing ourselves to be learners, right? Because I
Hmm.
think so often we want to just be like it's run and done. We're the expert,
Yeah,
and it's like no, like we're all learners, and really, if we're like making the most of our dance on this planet, like, isn't it great to commit to being lifelong learners, right?
yeah,
So, like, learning to love ourselves just that
yeah,
little bit more is absolutely brilliant.
hmm,
It's okay, and
yeah,
particularly if maybe you've had a chunk of time in your life where it's felt hard to love yourself or hard to believe it, like you can learn, you can be learning to love, you can be learning to believe in
yeah,
yourself, even 5%, like, because if it keeps on increasing, then you'll get to where it needs to
exactly.
be. So committing to yourself is a massive act of self-love
Yeah,
anyway, you know
absolutely.
like committing to honor and value yourself and
Hmm.
deem yourself as worthy of whatever time,
Hmm.
experiences, moments, like pleasure, whatever, it's
Yeah,
it's all deep acts of love. So allow yourself to be a learner with it,
yeah,
it's, yeah, it's kind of like where a door is like being rammed shut with all the locks across, it's like we've unlocked them, and like it's, if we're
yeah,
learning to, there's a slither of light, right? And where there's a slither of light, there's more light with it too. So it's like, how can we let
yeah,
more of that light in?
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's a never-ending journey of learning and evolving and growing. And as you age, things change and what you value changes, and
Mm.
that's also okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We
Absolutely.
don't have to be on this linear, journey on this linear line to the end point. It Life shouldn't look like that, as we've said, life's messy, and those moments of committing to the journey and really committing to yourself, that's also where big changes happen, especially neurologically, like
Yeah.
from a position of how you process information. You learn, and your subconscious mind learns, that you can trust yourself, that you can love yourself, that you,
Yeah.
what you say is true, and that you follow through with the things that you say about yourself, that it's not just a facade.
Yeah.
And quite often that's, I hear a lot of that around this idea of like toxic positivity and toxic gratitude. And that's not what we're talking about here. And we're not
Absolutely.
talking about, you know, put a smile on your face anyway.
Yeah.
We're talking about duality of all of those things can exist. You can be in grief and also find joy.
Absolutely.
You can be, I mean, you only have to look at a funeral and look at the wakes afterwards.
Yes.
An intensely sad moment in people's lives, and yet you walk into a wake after maybe half an hour of everybody's kind of settled in, everybody's talking, everybody's laughing, everybody's reminiscing. Like the two things can coexist. We're not, you know not successful 1 minute, or not feeling successful 1 minute, and then suddenly the next minute feeling successful.
Yeah. And I think it's so important that we just allow all the feelings, right? And
Yeah.
if we allow all the shitty feelings, we can allow all the pleasurable feelings. And I think, when we shove down, and that
The
can be,
avoidance.
yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to look at that, because it feels XYZ, and it's not dismissing how that might feel, because that's true and real for whoever's
Yeah.
experiencing it. But I think the biggest gift we can give ourselves is allow us to feel all the feelings, because if we allow sadness and grief and all the emotions that can feel big and heavy, then
Hmm.
we're absolutely going to be able to welcome in love and joy and
Yeah.
excitement and pleasure,
Hmm.
and so
Yeah.
it's allowing them all to
It's like a
exist.
seesaw, isn't it? If
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
ignore one side, it becomes so heavy and so
Yeah,
overbearing that it's impossible to reach what's on the other side. It's like it's up there and it's out of reach. Whereas
yeah,
if you just let yourself feel both sides of the spectrum, all of the emotions, they're all accessible to you. You're
yeah.
not in a battle with happiness and sadness, or, anger and joy. You're allowing yourself to feel all of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to know, like, because I know you absolutely align with joy, and it's something super important for you personally in your work. Like, what are when you think of joy givers, right? And I
Hmm.
say that, and it like, just puts a big grin on my face. But like, and you're grinning too. So like, what are
Yeah.
your, like, when you're feeling joy, where are you receiving it? What are your joy givers?
It really is for me in the small things.
Yeah.
Singing in the shower, and then dancing in the shower, and then remembering that's not a safe thing to do, and
Yeah.
nearly like then thinking, oh God, that would be, my brain then goes to, oh God, then the firefighters are going to come and I'm going to be like naked with a broken leg. What were you doing? I was dancing in the shower. You know, like
I was in my joy.
like really, truly, and honestly, and also for me, permission to connect to childhood joy that, for whatever reason, I didn't experience a lot in childhood, and
Right.
allowing myself to, like, just now, I'm just looking out my window. And it's a really sunny day, and I can see the lawn, and immediately I'm thinking, how cool would it be to go out there and like do some cartwheels and like roly polies?
Love it.
That to me is like just giving yourself permission to
Mm,
do whatever in the moment feels right and feels joyful to you. Like turning the radio up and just singing for me is like, I can't sing to save my life. When I sing, my husband's like, are you strangling a cat? I'm like, I don't care. I'm not, I'm not,
doing it
I'm
anyway.
not
Yeah.
singing to impress anybody. I'm
Yeah.
singing for me because it makes my
Yeah.
heart sing. It makes me happy. It makes me joyful. But also, like quiet moments bring me so much joy as well. Like
Mm,
sometimes I can just be sitting in the evening and like watching something on Netflix or whatever with my husband, and I can just turn and look at him watching TV and just feel just like just joyful that we get to be there in that moment, even if we're not doing
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
And I think, and it's that's taken practice. Like that's not something that I've always been really good at.
Mm,
Um, I would say I've always had a skill for knowing what makes me happy and finding
yeah,
it no matter what.
yeah,
Like, damn the consequences, damn what anyone else thinks.
yeah,
This is what makes me happy, and so this is what I'm going to do. But definitely as I've got older, it's been harder to tune out those societal norms and narratives. And I've had to really intentionally do the things that used to come so naturally to me.
yeah,
Like intentionally pause,
yeah,
and when I'm feeling low or when I'm feeling dysregulated, remembering, oh yeah, I haven't had the radio on for a few days, or
yeah.
I haven't had a conversation with that person. I think deep, meaningful conversations will also bring me so much joy. And
Yeah.
finding people that you regulate each other through a
Mm,
conversation, that brings
mm.
me so much joy.
Yeah. And I think like the key thing in all of this is like it's finding your U-shaped joy givers, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
people might be listening, and go, "Oh, I'm gonna give that a whirl." Amazing. But also like just to, like remember that like you are your best guide, aren't
Uh-huh.
you? So often
Yeah.
we outsource a ton of stuff, and like whilst that is super helpful at times and relevant for specific things, like the biggest gift really is self-validation, isn't it? So
Yeah.
like you knowing, you deciding, you choosing. So I think finding like your you-ness, your like
Hmm.
allowing yourself to go like this is the thing, like that's what we need to remember, is that we are the ones that we're the wisest people for ourselves,
Yeah.
so like listen to, like, our body tends to tell us, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Kind of, it will show in different ways, and it's like, okay, so like follow that little nudge.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I also have a very expressive face. And so sometimes my face is reacting and doing something before my brain's really figured out, what's going on or what's happening. So, like for instance, this entire conversation, I've been smiling, my cheeks are now hurting.
Yeah.
And sometimes you kind of forget what that feels like to laugh and to smile so much. And so I've also got very used to really feeling my body, because
Yeah.
even when something's tough, even when something's hard, like I recently started lifting, like weight training, and it's tough, it's hard, like it's heavy, but I'm learning something new. But it took me weeks before I realized that every time I left the gym, my cheeks hurt
Right.
because I was focusing on the muscles hurting and oh, I didn't really do that right and that exercise,
Yeah.
and then I was driving home one day and I was like, I'm actually getting so much joy from this too, because of the
Amazing.
people that are there, because I'm learning, because learning is and growth is one of my values. And so learning something new is also giving me so much joy. And and that's the key, is like real, as you said, learning what works for you and getting really good at knowing how you feel joy. Like, where does it sit in your body? For me, it's
Mm,
all in my face, it's all in my cheeks. That's where I feel joy. That's where I know I'm in joy.
yeah.
Maybe for someone else, it's in their tummy. Maybe they feel it in their heart space. Maybe
Yeah.
that, but learning how you experience joy to then understand what moments in your day you are actually in joy when you maybe don't even realize it, because you're skipping on to the next thing or your brain's thinking about something else. That's also such a powerful thing, because your body, I was going to say always, more often than not, knows before your brain does.
Yeah.
Like your
Yeah.
nervous system is reacting so much faster than your mind. Your
Yeah.
body is instant, those reflexes. So really understanding like where do you feel it and what does it feel like for you, and so that you can pick up on it more and be more
Yeah.
aware of when you are in that space of joy.
I love it. And I have like, looking at your face the whole time, you have had a big grin and so have I. I love these chats. So like, I always
Yeah.
just like fall right into it with really feeling it. But yeah, you have been grinning away. It's a perfect point for us to do a little bit of laughter, I think.
It's absolutely.
I was like, I always love to weave some in. So like, let's do some.
Let's do it.
Are you open for some laughter breaths, my darling?
Absolutely.
Amazing. All we're going to do, we're going to breathe in, and then when we exhale, we're just going to let some laughter come out. I see already. See, as soon as I start saying that, because my body is just so like responsive to it now. I
It's
start.
ready.
Yeah, she's going.
It
Oh,
looks like we
beautiful.
both have quite a silent laugh as well. So if you don't hear anything, it's not because we're not laughing. We're both like
Oh dear.
let the noise out.
Yeah. Oh
Don't
gosh,
hold the noise in.
the noise does not stop with me. I tell you. Um, so if you're listening along, like laugh with us. So we're going to take a breath in and then exhaling.
Ah. Ah.
Let's take another big breath in and exhaling. I don't know if my microphone's drowning yours out. Hopefully not. Hopefully both are coming out. So let's do one more breath in
One more.
and exhaling.
So good.
That's amazing, doesn't it? Like, how do your
I
cheeks?
love it.
Your
That my
cheeks
cheeks are now like,
they're like
I
party.
know. They're like hamster cheeks as it is already.
Oh,
People are always like, "Oh, look at your cheeks."
oh, beautiful cheeks, beautiful cheeks.
Full
Kayleigh,
and
I could like
pink.
literally we could carry on.
I know.
Oh, but I love, but you see, but this is right, we're releasing endorphins. And what
Yeah.
happens when we're doing like extended laughter is our endorphins come out to play,
Hmm.
and so we're instantly flipping our mood into like an even better energy, an even better vibration. So it's like,
Yeah.
yay, it's like literally what's
Just
not
love
to
it.
love. Yeah, me too, as you can
Love
probably
it.
tell.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap up now, my darling. You have been absolutely gorgeous. What I would love, this is a really hard one to give you for the end, but
Okay.
I really want to do it, so I'm
I'm
just going to do
ready.
it. Um, so I would love you to share, like, when you think about Kayleigh now, like where you are right here,
Hmm.
right now. What's one thing that's helped you get to where you are right now?
Oh, one thing.
I know, and you can go, do you know what? I'm not doing one. But if there is one thing that's glaring,
Yeah, I would say a steadfast, unbreakable belief that I am always doing the right thing for myself.
oh, that's given me a little rush, actually.
Yeah.
I
And
love
and
that.
it took me a long time to realize that that wasn't available to everybody.
Yeah.
And I've
Wow.
been that way since a teenager.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so powerful, isn't it? And just that's a really powerful share for anyone listening because
Mm,
it's like, okay, it might not be available to everybody. However, it could be,
it can
right?
be.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I do what I do,
Yeah.
because
I
I
imagine
realized
that's
one
driven
day
you there.
that
Yeah.
it can be available to people that need it. And
Yeah.
I know how.
Yeah. Oh God, that
Yeah.
like I'm so glad I asked that question because
Me
like
too.
I
It
know
started making me a bit emotional. I was like, oh God, I'm
did
gonna
it.
cry. Yeah,
Oh
it's
my God.
felt
So,
this
so
wave of emotion.
oh, and isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Because that's really seeing yourself,
Hmm.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Kayleigh, I just absolutely love that because when we and I loved how you shared it as well, because you were like, oh my gosh, one thing, and then you were like, boom, and
Hmm.
you just like you just delivered,
Because there's a
you know?
part of me that still, and she nearly came, and that's, I was having a conversation with her.
Right?
It's like, you can't say that. That's too much.
Whoa. So
And
I'm
it's, she
really,
still comes forward. She's still there. She's
yeah,
like, people don't like people who are too confident in themselves. Like,
right.
watch how
Yeah,
you word this. So you saw
really,
it in,
yeah.
you saw it happening in action, the pause, the conversation I had inside my head. And I was like, no, thank you, not today.
But so self-leadership in action,
Yeah, absolutely.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Like walking your
100%.
walk and talking your talk.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm literally like I am cartwheeling around the grass right now in my
Yeah.
head because like that's such a powerful way for us to end,
Yeah. Thank you
because
for asking a really good question.
yeah, and like the how you got there,
Hmm.
like all like the answer was incredible, but also the coming to the answer. Like it's utter gold
Yeah.
because it's such a reminder that we're just humans
Hmm.
having a human experience, and
Yeah.
yeah, and self-leadership, like when we can get
Hmm.
to that space, my goodness me,
Hmm.
like we can
Yeah,
make incredible things happen, right?
absolutely. And not that
Yeah.
many years ago, I probably wouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, in about 10 minutes, I would have gone, you should have said that. Why didn't
Yeah.
you say that?
Yeah. And then the dialogue goes again. Yeah. So reflecting on what was to what is also really
Yeah.
powerful, isn't it?
It's just huge. Yeah.
Oh gosh, my darling, I have literally just loved talking to you. It's been incredible.
Me
To
too.
wrap up, I would love you to share. Obviously, I'm going to put like links and everything so people can find you and follow you and connect with you. But is there anything you would love to like signpost people to? Anything you'd love to share as a little kind of final before we wrap up, my darling?
I mean, I think we've pretty much covered it
Yeah.
all. That last question, I think just closed it off. It just brung it all together,
Yeah.
so well. No, the only thing I would say to people is if, you've enjoyed the conversation and anything that I've said has resonated, you can find my Instagram in the show notes and just connect, reach out. Like my inbox is always open for a chat.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Please do go give her a follow on Insta. As you've heard from this conversation, she is absolutely deliciously delightful. So like why wouldn't you go give her a follow? And if anything comes up from listening to this, obviously our DMs are open. So please do reach
Always.
out. Yeah, or you probably realize we both love a chat, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So please do, because like we honestly mean that, like heartfelt. Just do reach
Absolutely.
out and connect. Kayleigh, it has been absolutely gorgeous, my darling.
I've loved
Thank
it.
you so, so much.
Thank you.